What's happening? Good evening. Mercenary Q, Cambo, Fox. What's happening, guys? You guys all get your Dantes today? Everyone get Dante? The website was like crashing when I was trying to get it. I was like freaking out for a minute there. I was like, oh my god. Cool. I'm going to be working on a little bit of BGVs tonight. These guys are getting in good shape, but a bit to go on them. Figure out some paints that I'm going to need. I need a brown. I need some non-oil. What else am I going to need here? Evil Sun Scarlet. Chronos. You know what, we'll use Edge Blue Horror. Don't use this very often, but we'll use that. Maybe a glaze as well. Gloaming glaze, maybe? Gloaming glaze. Oh, I'm gonna want regular flesh shade. I've got a lot to do to finish up these guys. But I thought I would try and finish up a couple of blade guard that I had in. These guys are in reasonably decent shape. I wanted to finish them so that, I don't know, I just have a lot of blade guard ready for if blade guard are really good in 10th edition. I think they're gonna be pretty good. I don't know if they're gonna be really good, but I think they are gonna be pretty good. Nathan got them pre-ordered with Along with the Dice, nice. Sup then, how you doing? To hit to win, good evening. Adrian, good evening. Got his pre-order in. Yeah, I got my pre-order in maybe like 10 minutes past, which is funny because I was sat at my computer from like 10 minutes to. Games Workshop in the UK was down, like just dead. It was just like, the website's too busy, you can't get in at all. And then Element Games, which is usually always really, really reliable, I feel like, was also dead for like 10-15 minutes. So I was sort of like, wow, the two websites that I would really know and use were both completely foobar. And then I saw on Twitter some people saying, like, I already saw the Lion is on eBay now for like $120, so literally double what he cost, or just less than double what he cost. So I was like, oh man, loads of legitimate players didn't get it, I guess, and those illegitimate scalpers, which they always manage to get a hold of it somehow, don't they, the scalpers? So a bunch of scalpers have it, I guess, and it's on eBay now for double the retail price, so yeah, it sucks, but it doesn't seem like anything we do will change that. It keeps happening. The scalpers keep managing to do their thing. Every Games Workshop release, it feels, every big release people are really going to want, it feels like. If you're not lucky, or if you're like, if the website times out, you're going to get screwed. Jack did get his pre-order in as well, so it seems like a lot of people here at least got the pre-order, and I did put a bunch of posts out reminding people about it, because I fucking hate it when I forget pre-order morning. I've done it before, when like logged in like a half hour later and it's like, nope, you can't get it, you were half an hour too late, and you're like, fuck. Sorry, that's maybe a bit too heavy on the swearing right at the start of the stream. Gregory got in, Gregory had a bit of pain, but he got there eventually. What's up, Crispy Delicious, how you doing? Dante was there 15 minutes later. Cool. I mean, I wasn't sure how long Dante was gonna stay in stock. I mean, I had mine in my basket, like, the second Element Games was working again. I was refreshing it. I had it actually open in like 5 different browsers. I was like, I am not missing out on this. The funny thing is, I don't even know if I'll play Dante much in 9th edition, because I don't think the rules they gave him are very good. I mean, they're okay. He's better than he was. He is quite a bit better than he was. So I guess I'm more likely to play him now than I was before, but I'm still probably / unlikely to rush out and build a list with him for 9th edition. But hopefully this way, if you got the pre-order, you can have him ready for 10th. I'm sure he's going to be good in 10th, right? Apollo says because of the post today, he managed to snag one. That's awesome. Then that's exactly why I put the post out. I thought that somebody might be like, I was fully expecting somebody to say like, you know, like, you're just putting the post out because you get an affiliate link, and I was like, well, yeah, I mean, that's half the reason that I'm putting the post out, but the other half of the reason is like, you don't want legitimate players to miss out. Because like I said, I missed out on something before. I can't remember what it was, but maybe it was Indomitus actually, because I did get Indomitus, but I got it in that made-to-order nonsense that they had, where they said like, oh, we realise lots of people missed out on Indomitus, so we're going to do a made-to-order, and it'll take up to, they said up to 12 weeks. Well, mine took more than 12 weeks to come. So if that's anything to go by, I guess, just be prepared when they do this 10th edition box set, if it's really good value, and it probably will be. Good evening, Highland Phoenix, how are you? Robert White says he's pissed off. What are you pissed off about, Robert? If anyone got, if that's anything to go by, then expect the 10th edition box set to sell out pretty quickly, and what? And maybe they'll do the same thing, right? Where it's like, oh, well, we'll make sure everybody gets a starter set because, like, we want a lot of people to get the starter set. But, like, last time around they said it would take, what did I say, 12 weeks? Mine took, like, 14 and a half weeks or something, 13 and a half weeks. I don't remember exactly, but I remember emailing my local store at 12 weeks being like, hey, what's up? You know, Games Workshop said 12 weeks, where's my Indomitus box? And 12 weeks is a long time, right? When, like, everybody else has the new models. And you're like, well, you're just going to be 12 weeks behind, 3 whole months, and in my case it was even more than 3 whole months. You guys know how slow I am at painting. I can't afford to get the new models 3 months behind everybody else. I need them before everybody else. I noticed a bunch of content creators were posting today like pictures of that they already have Dante, and I'm like sat there like, son of a bee, here I am doing all the Blood Angel stuff on YouTube, but no one's going to give me the hookup with the early Dante model. Oh well, it's a hard life. Reminds me of the song by Jay-Z, right? Dark Ginger managed to snag it from Element Games. Cool. Exo got it from another site. GW is dead in France as well. Wow, okay. What would you suggest for the gold armor, having never picked up Sangreguard / Dante before? So I'm going to do mine. I'm going to do my gold armor how I always do gold armor. These Blade Guard are rocking up. So actually, do you know what? These Blade Guard are halfway done. Here's a finished guy. So finished guy on the right. Don't know how. It's really hard for me to see what lighting you guys see on the stream, because in front of me, like, if you've ever seen the picture of my painting table, I have like 5 lights on here so that you can see me and you can see my models. But the guy on the right is finished. The guy on the left is in progress. So I'm going to do this, the tried and tested thing that I do, and it's the guy on the right here, and it's very simple. I spray him black, then I spray him Retributor Gold. Then when you spray Retributor Gold over black, you'll notice that some parts aren't quite coated solidly, I guess. Retributor Gold spray is decent, but it's not perfect coverage. So then I would touch up maybe with Retributor Gold, and then after that it's just Reichland Flesh Shade. I just wash the whole of the gold armor. You'll see, so Retributor Gold's quite gold. When you wash it with Reichland Flesh Shade, you get this sort of like bronzy, ready gold, and that's fine for me. I don't do anything fancy. You could go ahead and like highlight over that if you wanted. I think Merc in the channel on the chat is saying that he highlights with like Stormhost Steel. You can totally do that if you want simple and battle ready. All you need to do is what I'm doing there. I've actually got a video on the channel where I painted a Sangreguard using that exact technique. If you search like battle ready Sangreguard, I think I'm like the 2nd top hit on YouTube. It's like a 20-minute video. I'll probably make one for Dante as well, honestly. But it's gonna be battle ready. It's gonna be nice and simple from me. Roman said it was $35 in Germany, didn't bother with the pre-order, I'll wait till the shop. That's fair enough. I know a bunch of people are waiting. Scalpers got the lion before I did. and I was ready and everything, but he was gone before you could blink. They did say on Warhammer Community, Robert, that the Lion will be out as a single model without the extra box very soon. There's a Lion on eBay for 280 bucks, man. Man, that sucks. Evening, Andrew. Yeah, Scalpers are a real problem for GW, and I made a video about this, which I guess no one really watched or I don't know. I think you should be able to register on like Warhammer, on like the actual Games Workshop website, and you should be able to like list like, these are my 3 favorite armies. And when those limited edition books or limited edition codexes or limited edition whatever, the Lions come out, they should go like, hey, you registered that you were a, I don't know, in your case, Robert, I guess, I thought you were a Black Templars player, but I guess if you were trying to get the Lion, maybe you're also a Dark Angels player. I think you should be able to list that like, hey, the armies I'm really interested in are Dark Angels, and as such, when those things come up, because that's the army you've like, maybe you have to like, they could also look at purchase history, right? They could also be like, wow, this guy bought a lot of Dark Angel stuff, or something, like, at least, I don't know, I feel like they could do it better. It seems like everything gets scalped these days, literally everything. And some of the prices that they want, like $280. How much was he in US? So he's going, he can't have been more than 100 in US, right? So he's going like 3 times over retail in US. It has been a bit of a windfall day for me on Element Games. Thank you, Highland Phoenix. I think there was like 38 bucks in my account. So I think I get 1% of purchases. So I guess there was like £380 worth of Dantes bought today using my Element Games affiliate link. So like 20 something Dantes, I guess. Good evening, Brock. Good evening, Rosario. Outdoor Gasper, what's happening? He refuses to buy anything from the GW website, only support my local shop as it's cheaper than GW. I'm kind of the same, dude. I got 2 kids, so all my outgoing money is always super budgeted. So if I can save 20 bucks here and there, I tend to always support the local stores that give it 20% cheaper. Chuck, welcome to membership, Battle Brother. Thanks so much, Chuck. I don't think we've met before, Chuck, but you can... If you do become a channel member, please consider joining our Discord. You can, if you don't know the link to Discord, just type !Discord in the chat. That'll give you a link. We've got like a couple of thousand members in there now, and you get access to our members only room by becoming a channel member. Thank you. Highland Phoenix coming in with a 26-month channel membership. Company veteran nonetheless. Highland Phoenix, you're a legend. I finished my Reaper today. Did you see the photo on my Twitter? I finished the Reaper, I varnished it, I put on all the transfers. I'm actually really pleased with how the Reaper looked. I can pull up the picture if you didn't see it. The line was 110 in the US. Still, 280 on day 1 is pretty crazy how much. So not quite 300%, but that is crazy. I don't understand why they don't do something better to stop people getting scalped so hard. Because it's like genuine fans want the stuff, and genuine fans are the ones that get suckered into paying like 3 times the value just because some scalper that, if you're selling it on day 1 before you even got the model in the flesh, you obviously didn't want it. I really want Wayward Games to do affiliate links. There is other places that do affiliate links in the UK. I'm just all set up with Element Games, so I guess I'm not gonna change. If there's another creator that does affiliate links with Wayward Games, by all means, use another creator, man. I have been invited for some other stores in the UK to do affiliates with, but Element have been pretty good to me, so I'm going to stick with them at the moment. Levi, thank you so much for becoming a member. Battle Brother as well. Cool. I always love it when streams kick off with a couple of members. It always makes me feel like what I do is worth it, so thank you so much. I appreciate the support as always. I appreciate the support to everyone that bought Dante using the affiliate link today as well. Super cool. I don't know what I'm buying next for the channel, actually. I mean, I'm in the middle of doing a giant commission for the boarding actions terrain. So I owe Mike, Mike will be here later in the chat, no doubt. I owe him 300 bucks because he's painting the whole of boarding actions for me. because I'm too damn slow at painting, and if I have to paint boarding actions as well, then we're never playing boarding actions on the channel. So Mike is painting the entirety of boarding actions for me. He's actually making it and assembling all the terrain, and then he'll mail it to me. So I think he's aiming to have that done like end of next month. So we might do some boarding actions before 10th edition, or we might do some once 10th edition kicks off. Regardless, I'll have a ton of 10th edition content coming out on the channel. You know, I'll cover everything. Andrew got the Sanguinary Guard dice through Element. It took him 40 minutes. It took me a while, actually. Yeah, it was crashing for like 20 minutes when I was on Element. I was on Element like way early, though. Like, I was there from about 10 to 10. I always forget about pre-order days. Like, I genuinely forget about them. It happens. I don't know if I've just got crappy memory or if the kids are bothering me in the mornings. So, but for some reason today I woke up, and the second I woke up I was like, oh yeah, it's Dante pre-order day. So I was actually on it today, and I was super organised. I guess we've been waiting for a new Dante for like 20 something years, so the universe just reminded me when I woke up in my half asleep, still tired state, was like, you need to be at the computer. Hey Joel, good evening. Highland Phoenix ordered some more Blood Angels Terminators for the shields. I do, like, a few people are asking about those Blood Angels Terminators. I think it might be worth trying to get some of the Blood Angels Assault Terminators, because once the new kit comes out, like, that kit could go the way of the dinosaur. And we were talking about this the other night on the stream, where we were saying, like, the Blood Angels Tactical Squad, which was like discontinued maybe like a year and a half ago now, maybe slightly longer. It's hard to remember exactly when it was discontinued, but Blood Angels Tactical Squads now, if you've got one of those kits, they're selling for so much. Like, and I wouldn't even, like, if I had one I wouldn't even sell it, but it just shows that like the unique parts inside them are so sought after. I remember when I was making my Stern Guards recently, I had some like Blood Angels tactical kits, shoulder pads and stuff, and I was it wasn't shoulder pads, it was backpacks, that was it. And I was like, oh, these backpacks are super rare, and like people were asking like, hey, where'd you get the backpacks? And I was like, man, it's like an old kit that's discontinued, sorry, can't help you. I'm doing Blade Guard Veterans today, Joel. I had finished a squad of like 6 of them, but I had like a couple more that were just like, they were in a decent-ish state. I finished off my Gladiator earlier today, so I'm really happy about that. That's like my third finished model of the year now, so now I thought I'd just go back and quickly tidy up these last, like, it's just 2 Blade Guard vets that were remaining from the squad. I think I did 8 or 7, because I did have like 3 boxes of Indomitus, so I think I had like 8 or 10 Blade Guard vets. It was a weird number that I had, but I just did all of them, because I never really knew when, or... Oh, one sec, my daughter just woke up, I'll be right back. Sorry. Yeah, I did the Blade Guard Gold because, if you think about it, like, and I also did my Vanguard Veterans Gold. I don't really... I just thought that, like, to me it seemed like Sangre Guard are like the elite of Blood Angels, like the best of the best. So that's why I did my Vanguard Veterans in the same sort of colour scheme with the gold, and that's why I've done the Blade Guard in the same sort of colour scheme with the gold. Part of the reason also was that I just painted a shitload of red models. Like I just painted, when I came to do my Blade Guard Veterans, I think I'd just done 10 Assault Intercessors and like 10 Incursors and maybe like 10 Infiltrators. So it was just like I just painted like 30 Marines all red, and I was like, man, I just need a change. It was the same as like when I painted my first 2 Redemptors, I painted them red, and then when I got to my 3rd Redemptor I was like, do you know what, I just painted 2 red Redemptors. I am going to paint a black one. There was also a Blood Angel Sternguard box set, was there? That I don't know if I ever saw that one. But I think the Blade Guard actually look pretty cool red. Sorry, red. Yeah. I was gonna say, I think they look cool gold. I think they look good red as well, actually. But that's why I always say to people, like, just paint any model the colour you want to paint it. It doesn't have to be the box art. Like, the box art's fine, but like, do your own thing. I like my stuff to be unique. Technically, I suppose, like, I've never done a golden squad of Terminators, but now that we're talking about it, I'm actually, because I already got like a load of Firstborn Terminators, you know, like Terminators with Stormbolters, Terminators with Chain Fists, Power Fists. I got at least like 3 squads of them, so I definitely don't need another squad. I mean, I'll be getting another squad in the new starter box, right? But like, I don't necessarily need to rush and do them or whatever. Maybe, just to keep with the tradition, maybe we'll make a gold squad? And they can be like, I don't know, like the squad of squads? I don't know. Reminds me of like the Day of Days from Band of Brothers. Like, just the squad that is the epiphany of Terminator squads. Is boarding actions going to continue through 10th, James says. Yes, 100%. They said that it's still going to use the 9th edition rules for boarding action. So, you're going to need to buy those Arcs of Omen books, but they are going to continue. They basically said nothing is going to change with boarding actions. So the rule set will remain very much like it is. That may end up being confusing, I guess. And I guess that might be confusing with like data sheets, because like Terminators are going to go to toughness 5 for 10th, but like, will the boarding action Terminators still be toughness 4? And a worse armor save? I guess? I'm not entirely sure. Do a captain in gold? I might do the whole squad just because I already got 15 of the other guys painted. I mean, we could do. There is a new Terminator captain in that box set as well, is there not? I quite like the Blade Guard in gold. It just means that when I field my army, sometimes I can go a bit more golden, I guess. If I was going to do more Blade Guard, like a brand new squad of them, I might do them red. But this gold scheme's actually turned out pretty nice. I like it. Reminds me a lot of Sangre Guard as well, I guess. So maybe that's just biasing me. So did anyone actually get the Lion Order today? Boarding action won't use 9th edition rules? Are you sure, Atlas? Because they said they said in one of their videos about the rules that boarding actions was going to use the rules inside the Arcs of Omen books. So I assumed that meant they meant all the rules, or is it just like the Arcs of Omen books for stratagems and stuff, and then it'll use the actual 10th edition rules? I mean, it would be cleaner, probably, if it just uses the 10th edition rules. I'll have to check up that. Maybe golden shoulder pads on a Terminator? Well, that's the thing, you do, I mean, we'll see. My Terminators with Stormbolter still have like you remember when I don't know, like 2nd edition was here and Stormbolters used to be yellow? My Terminators are rocking yellow Stormbolters. So they're old models, like super old. Some of them are even metal. Like half my Terminators are plastic, but at least one squad is metal, maybe 2 squads, I'm not entirely sure. I think I had 2 squads of the metal Terminators, and then I think I had 2 squads of the plastic Terminators, actually. Like I said, I had like a lot of Terminators. Because when I first started playing 40k, there was no Sangre Guard. So your elites for Marines were Terminators. You maybe had the odd assault squad, but like it was mainly Terminators was your elite choices. You were only allowed 1 squad of Death Company back then. So, like, my Blood Angels army was like a lot of tactical squads. 1 squad of Death Company, as I say, there was no Sangre Guard. There was like, I had a lot of Predators and attack bikes, because they seemed to synergize quite well with Blood Angels. And then Terminators. And it was typically Bolter, Chainfist Terminators. The Salt Cannon used to be really good. So that was kind of what my list looked like. Like, this is 20 years ago, right? Arcs of Omen rules are just an extension. Should work fine with 10th. Alright, well cool, that'll be cleaner. I mean, caution stripes or yellow... Yeah, I mean, hazard stripes on the Stormbolters would have probably worked as well, but I just have the chassis, the whole chassis of the gun painted like Averland Sunset, like bright yellow. Because that's, like, if you go back to the 2nd edition codex, I'm pretty sure that's what they look like. I don't really go back and read the 2nd edition codex very often. I probably should, considering I try and paint a bunch of my stuff to look like it came from 2nd edition, but yeah, I hope everybody gets Dante next Saturday, because it sounded like the demand for the Lion was just crazy. Like, so like people are going to pre-order it and definitely not get it next weekend. So I hope that like most people that order Dante get him next weekend. I mean, like I said, it's not going to be the end of the world if you don't get him, because you're probably going to have to wait until 10th edition for his rules to really be kick-ass, I feel like. But it's kind of mad that, like, I was surprised that their whole website fell over this morning, actually. Like, for a while, people already said in the chat it was 40 minutes they were trying to get to pre-order stuff. That's frustrating, right? Space Wolves still have yellow Stormbolters. They do indeed. Seller says $45 for Dante is insane. Are you in Canada? Is 10th edition gonna make me run Hellblasters? I don't know, man. I don't think I'll run Hellblasters unless they giantly reduce their costs. The problem with Hellblasters is they're just a Marine with a... I mean, like, if you compare them up against like a Sangre Guard, they're 5 more points than a Sangre Guard. They don't do as much damage, and they can also kill themselves if you roll a 1. So it's like they work better. Hellblasters work better for shooting factions for sure, but I mean, they're not the worst choice in the world, right? I painted 10 Hellblasters when they came out. This would have been 6 years ago, like when Hellblasters first came out in the Dark Imperium box, I think it was called. I had obviously had the Dark Imperium box, so went straight ahead and painted all 10 Hellblasters. I think in the 6 years since then, since mine have been painted, I've ran a squad of 5 of them once, and that's it. So definitely not. I was going to say definitely not something that I really should have run out and spent my time painting. I did think they were cool, and I did think they would have some. I did think they would be useful. They just have turned out that they're not. Not that useful, I guess. I don't know how you describe Hellblasters. But yeah, they definitely didn't get very much playtime by me whatsoever. I'm struggling to get that guy's foot painted. That's annoying me. A Marine with a gun that kills himself. Yeah, I mean, I think Hellblasters are just too expensive. Like I said, they probably work better in a shooting chapter. For Blood Angels, there's just better things we can do typically for the points. I get having some plasma in your list is good, but here's the other question. Plasma might actually be a big victim of 10th edition, in that, like, one of the things about plasma is it's versatile. Kill infantry and it can kill vehicles. Well, can it kill vehicles now? Because all the vehicles are going up to like toughness 9 and like a rhino's toughness 9. So if plasma's only wounding a rhino on, like, what would it be, 5s? Is plasma good? Is plasma still good? I mean, I don't even think it's good enough as is. I don't run it as is, right? You guys still gonna run plasmas when every vehicle's toughness 9 up? What do you think? I guess that's the price of a character now, sellers. $45 in Canadian. I don't know what I can tell you. I mean, if that's the price of a character, I did think at some point in the UK it's going to start getting pretty expensive for individual characters, right? Like, we're up at 27 at the moment. Once it starts hitting 30 for one model, that feels like it's going to be kind of crazy, but at the same time, like, here in the UK, everything has gone crazy, right? Like, hobbies get hit the same with inflation as everything else. The inflation these last couple of years of the whole world, I believe, has been pretty crazy, so I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I guess if that's the price now, that's the price, and you gotta live with it. It's 45 US. I thought it was 35 US and 45 Canadian. No, it's 45 US. Is it really? That's higher than I thought it was. The pound is not strong at the moment, so maybe that's having an impact on it. Like, the pound is just garbage. Like, if you look at the international market, because obviously, like, if we were going to go on holiday right now, like, the pound is just not in a great place, so maybe that's having an impact on it. It's all down to Brexit. Anyone that's outside the UK that doesn't know what's going on, we apparently voted to ruin our own country or our own by going with Brexit. It's the dumbest thing ever. So anything that's manufactured in the UK will have skyrocketed in price since the Brexit vote, basically. And I think Games Workshop make a lot of their products still in the UK. They're like, they're one of the companies that hasn't outsourced everything to, like, China or whatever, so probably really hurts making models in the UK right now. What's the opinion on everyone having HQs and squads in 10th edition? I think it's going to be cool. I think it's going to offer flexibility that we've not really seen before. I think it's going to offer options that we might not have seen before. I think it's going to obviously impact auras, so there's going to be less auras. I don't necessarily know if less auras is necessarily a bad thing. So I think the changes of characters joining squads should be cool. But until we actually see it and play it, it's kind of going to be hard to... It's going to be hard to... Because it's been a long time since characters joined squads. They did join squads like many editions ago. I don't even remember which edition it was. It might have been one of the editions when I had a break, because I don't remember too much. I'm sure I played when characters joined squads, but not much. Most of my game time was like 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and maybe a bit of 5th. I didn't play 6th and 7th, and then I played 8, 9. Yeah, I can't wait to find out what they're going to do with transports either. I think that they'll have removed some of the restrictions for transports. As in, like, more models, more types of models can go in transports. I think. But again, that's all just guesswork, I guess. Like, no one actually knows if more models will go in transports. They are releasing a lot of information every week on the Warhammer community, and basically what I've been doing the last month now or so is, as new information gets released on Warhammer community, I've been making sure that, like, I'm covering it all on my weekly tactics videos. And the tactics videos have been a bit longer these last few weeks, but like, there's a lot to cover, and I'm a bit behind. You know, they're putting out like 4 articles a week of like, hey, this is new stuff coming to the game. So I'm going to cover it all. I'll give my 2 cents on it. I guess next week we'll cover Dante, because he came out, his rules came out like the day after I made this week's video. So we'll cover him next week, along with, I guess, characters joining squads will be on the agenda to be covered next week. And I'm sure there'll be something else posted on Warhammer community that we'll cover as well. Alright, I'm almost at the point where I'm just going to start washing these guys with the Reichland Flesh Shade, which was what you were asking in the chat earlier, like, how do I do this? I wonder if drop pods will become more viable. I mean, I think drop pods are pretty viable at the moment. I was going to say, if you're like if you're a chapter that can get the most out of them, or you're a chapter that really needs Alpha Strike, then I don't necessarily think drop pods are unviable at the moment. I just think they're kind of costly, maybe? Like, you can't take too many drop pods, right? Like, you have to give up something to take multiple drop pods, I guess. I'm guessing 10-man squads are gone. I don't know, Inks, I think he's just referring to the new data sheets. They didn't really say on those new data sheets what the size of the squads are anymore, right? Like, they showed off the data sheet for the Terminator, but they never said, like, minimum size 5 or anything like that on the data sheet. So, I guess the question that some people have is, like, what's the size of units that we can take in some of these armies, and also the other thing that seemed interesting is, like, combat squads, like the wording combat squads just appeared to not be there. So, like, some people are, like, guessing, like, does that mean combat squads are just gone? Like, there is no more combat squads for Marines? Again, I guess I don't have the answer. If I find out the answer, we'll do a video on it. they're making all the armor tougher, 100% post-apocalyptic games, and it's going to make a lot of troop units potentially weak against them, which is probably how it should be. Like, you shouldn't really be blowing up armor with bolt gun fire, right? Like, they definitely had a problem in this edition where like armor just wasn't good enough. So now I guess, and I had like debated with a lot of people, like, how do they possibly fix armor, you know, like how can they fix it? And one of the things that we hadn't debated, but probably actually is a good solution, is to bump the toughness on all the armor. Like, I think that is a good solution. I guess the question is going to be is like, what anti-armor weaponry is going to be kicking around? Like, if las cannons are still strength 9, sorry, if melta weaponry is still like strength 8 and 9, like, what have we got that's... I mean, there is, you know, there's the odd thing, for example, like a gladiator lancer or a vindicator laser destroyer. You know, there's the odd thing that has like a toughness... keep getting toughness and strength mixed up, sorry, I must be tired tonight. There's the odd thing that occasionally has you know, strength 10, or I guess in the case of, I think, the Gladiator Lancer, it's strength 12. So there's the odd model that might have like higher strength in the armor, like, I guess, dedicated anti-tank fire. But usually dedicated anti-tank fire is like on other, you know, it's on other tanks, right? Like, you don't typically get dedicated, like, essentially Thunderhammers at toughness 8 won't be dedicated anti-tank anymore, or they won't be effective anti-tank because they're only toughness 8. If Red Thirst sticks around in its current incantation of +1 to wound, I feel like that's actually kind of a huge buff to Red Thirst, because, like, you know, like, if I don't know, like, if you got like a strength 6 or 7 weapon, but you're going to be able to wound toughness 12 on a 4-up, like, I feel like that's a huge buff to Red Thirst. But I guess I don't know if Red Thirst will stay as it is, or what will, you know, if that part of it will change. The Hunter Killer Missile went to strength 14. I don't think... Have they shown off a las cannon? I'd be surprised if las cannons go up to higher strength than 9. I guess we'll also see what happens to melta guns. I'm wondering how inflated monster toughness will be yet. Have they really touched on monster toughness? Have they mentioned that in any of the articles? Because it was mostly armor they were talking about, right? This Blade Guard veteran got a Sangre Guard mask. He's ready to join the SG. He just needs he just needs a jump back. He's ready. Are we ready to talk about twin link melee weapons? Poor aggressors. Are aggressors' fists going to be twin linked melee? I mean, that would be super cool. I always thought it was a bit silly that aggressors got -1 to hit when they're basically both their arms or combat arms. How are sisters going to deal with armor? They can't. No one wants to play sisters anyway. They've been overpowered for too long. They're just going to make it that sisters can't deal with armor. No, I don't know. I mean, I guess sisters have those suits that have multi-meltas in them. They have that tank that has all the multi-meltas. I forget what it's called. And then they do have that missile tank. I forget what it's called as well, but it's got like the 3D3 missiles or something. Maybe they... I think like I think you're genuinely gonna have to run some armor. And I feel like I'm happy for that, because I think you're gonna remove like some of the skew lists that we get in every edition from every faction. And I think some people will be unhappy with that because they like skew lists or whatever. But I think it's going to be a good thing for the game. I don't know what skew lists brings to the game, really, personally. Except frustration when you fight them. So I think it's a good thing that, like, I think these changes are going to be good. I guess if you like your skew lists, then I can understand why you're not going to be in love with it, but I don't know what else to say. Like Blood Angels players, you may genuinely need to run like a couple of Predators in your list. Like, you might need that. Otherwise, when you run into like an armor heavy list, you're just going to be like, right, well, I can't deal with that armor at all now, because all my, you know, my Thunderhammers won't wound it until they're on 5s, and then if my Thunderhammers are wounding on 5s or something, then that's just going to generally be terrible. Like, Twin Link is mathematically weaker than more shots. Yeah, true. Twin Link is mathematically weaker than more shots. They have said that they're trying to make the game a little less killy, right? Like, that was something that they basically said, where they thought that this edition had become, like, it was too easy to kill things in this edition. There's too much damage, there's too much AP. Maybe I'm trying to think where I read that, or if I just, if that's how I interpreted one of their interviews, but that's kind of the feeling that I got. That they think this edition is a little bit too killy. Skew list is gaming outside the box. Well, I mean, it is and it isn't, right? Like, you get to a point with skew lists where, like, if you don't take the skew list and everybody else is taking the skew list, you can't win the event. You might not be the best strategist, but you've got the best skew list, so you win the event. And I mean, that's fine, I guess, right? I mean, that's how it's worked for a long time now. But I'm not a huge fan of it personally. So I think it's good that it's changed. It'll make people bring more balanced armies, you should get more balanced games, and then it'll come down to who's the better general. If I get beat by someone that is a better general, then it's easy to hold my hand up and say I was beat by the better player, that's fine. If I get beat by a list that just does something really cheesy, like where we've got, like, what is it, Karskin at the moment doing, like, how many mortal wounds? 27 mortal wounds for 1 CP or something? Get beat by that? I'm like, right, why am I playing this game again? That's fucking stupid. So I guess you can look at it in either way, right? This Karskin's Mortal Wound Bomb has been nerfed somewhat, at least. It has been. So there's that, but you know what I'm trying to say. I'm not necessarily saying the Karskin Mortal Wound Bomb is a problem. I'm just trying to prove a point, I guess, that building skew lists like that might be fun for you, but it's certainly not fun for the person you play against. And when you figure that out, let's say you were the first person to figure out the Karskin Mortal Wound Bomb. You get to run it to a couple of events, and then you know they're going to nerf it, because it was never intended to do that anyway. So, like, I guess the question there is, like, is it not better if they just fix the balance of the whole game? And I guess that's where I'm coming from. So using infiltrator legs and torsos of Sangre Guard would be a good choice, says Pally. I mean, if you're trying to make Primaris Sangre Guard, probably something like Phobos or Reaver parts are probably going to be your best option. I don't know if or when we are going to see Primaris Sangre Guard. So I'm in no rush to get myself to make Primaris Sangre Guard. I'm gonna, if they come out with them, I'm gonna buy them. But I honestly kind of hope that they do what they're doing with these Terminators, where they're just gonna say like, Sangre Guard are Sangre Guard. They're not Primaris. They're not Firstborn, and they're just Sangre Guard. Here's a new kit for them, and the new kit obviously scales them up to the Primaris size. But if you want to run just your existing ones, you know, knock yourself out. That's what I'm hoping they say for Sangre Guard. I mean, I think it's me being selfish in that I don't really want to paint 30 new Sangre Guard. I think the best way they could do that and force people to buy the new kit would be to give them like a new weapon option in the new kit. So like in the new kit there's like a new combat weapon or something, like a Primaris, a Sangre Guard, an Encarmine Fist or an Encarmine Hammer or something that's like really interesting and new and strong. So people will be like, oh shit, I need to buy the new Sangre Guard because they have this Encarmine Hammer. But we're also not going to discontinue the 30 or so that everybody has got and painted and has spent a lot of time on. I think that would be the best way that they could bring in new Sangre Guard, for me anyway. But I mean, I know nothing. I'm just telling you my 2 cents, right? I think it is cool how, like, I think this is a cool way of them bringing the Firstborn Terminators back in, where it's like, you know, this is not a Firstborn kit, it's not a Primaris kit, this is a new Terminator kit, and they're strong, you know, their invulnerable save went up, their toughness went up, so they're really strong. Like, these are arguably the most survivable Terminators we've ever had. And we haven't even seen what the Storm Shield Terminators can do yet. So we got these super survivable Terminators now. And everybody who bought Terminators over the last 20 years, like, none of that has been taken away from you, which I really like. I'm really happy they've done that. Sangre Guard of halberds or spears. Yeah, I mean, there's a set of guys. They're called the Dawnbreaker cohort in Horus Heresy, and they're basically Sangre Guard with, like, I forget what pistols they're running, but they're running the sort of wrist-mounted pistols similar to Sangre Guard, but they are all with spears. Some people already have converted them to like Sangre Guard using like sword, like I guess they use them in the game as having swords. Highland Phoenix is one of the guys. You'd have to spend a lot of money to do those conversions as well. So yeah, I hope they do something like that for Sangre Guard. That would be super cool for me anyway, and that like I wouldn't lose any of my hard work, but I would have a new kit that I can pile money into when I have the money. Oh, music stopped. What happened? Oh, it finished apparently. Start again. The Reaper's losing half its shots. Why? Because the main cannon's twin linked. Is that what's happening? Hey David, good night. Thanks for tuning in. Stuka says, would 3 units of intercessors with bolt rifles, 1 captain with a storm shield and a power fist, and 2 5-man devastator units with 2 melee launchers and 2 las cannons be a good start? I mean, as a generic force, Stuka is okay. As a Blood Angels starting point, probably not the strongest. Blood Angels tend to need more melee units than that to be effective, or to be the most effective they can be, I guess. I hope they don't move them all to 40mm bases. If they do, it's easy to change the base size. Don't even worry about that, Jacob. You can go to eBay. There's a guy on eBay that sells base extender rings. I think he sells them for like, they're not even expensive, like 5 of them for like a few bucks, and honestly, you can just they're like plug and play. You can plug your models into them in 2 seconds flat and change their base size from 32s to 40s. Takes no time at all. You can glue them in if you never plan on taking them out, but you don't have to, right? Hey, thank you so much, Marango, for following. I appreciate it. How are you? Yeah, I mean, I guess if Twin Linked is changing for other weapons, it's likely to change for the Reaper as well. Right after I'm finally telling you, Highland Phoenix, that I feel like the Reaper's good, we're finally going to have to revoke the claim that the Reaper is good because it's got Twin Linked weapon, and that's not good anymore. Who knows? Not my best attempt at lightning, but something. My daughter's really unsettled tonight, guys. I'll be back in just 2 seconds, sorry. Hey Turkey, good evening. It makes Twin Link las cannons horrible. Twin las cannons were always kind of horrible anyway when you're on ballistic skill. The question is, will Twin Linked have better ballistic skill? Because like they can make weapons different, right? So maybe they make like Twin Linked BS2 or something? Like, is that how they'll fix it? Or is that how they'll balance it? I'm just using my size 0 brush, dude. Element Games character brush. Like, I genuinely just, I'm kind of lazy. I just paint the whole model with the same brush, Olunda. Just trying to make sure that like a lot of the paint is out of the brush so that the lines are nice and fine. This could have had more zigzags to it. But the thing is, I can always go back and paint. I can always go back with the Dark Reaper and try and paint a couple of little zigzags in. I feel like I just made a mistake there. I'll fix. I think it's always easier to fix than it is to paint it first time, if that makes sense. Because like when you go to fix it, you can work towards it. What paint for the Blood Angels Bladeguard Aquila? I've just been using red, but then these guys are gold. I think maybe some people did them white, some people did them red. Thank you so much for the $2, by the way. Like I would just use I'd go back with the paint that you had before, like in this case it's the Fang that I'm using here. Try and like put some of the I usually glaze over all my lightning effects as well, so that trick is to just try and make it nice and thin in points, I guess, and then thicker in other points. Some of these are too straight, though. This one feels way too straight. Yeah, so aggressors are going to have twin-linked bolt guns now, and what the twin-linked is going to mean is that they can re-roll the wounds. In some ways that's going to make aggressors a bit more difficult, right? Because like you're going to have to, when you shoot the aggressors, you won't be able to shoot all the weapons at the same time. Like they've got the frag grenades or whatever they're called. So the frag grenades are going to be like strength 4, no AP, but then the bolters are going to be strength 4, no AP, but you're going to get to re-roll your wounds on the bolters. I'm not happy with that. Remember, like I said, I'm a battle-ready painter, so not necessarily trying to... I mean, lightning's random anyway, isn't it? What do you mean by combined arms? Sorry, Lagmeister, I don't know what you mean by that, sorry. I've used Artist Opal brushes before, Nathan. I think they're awesome. I just think they're expensive. But I mean, I guess if you're a really good painter, it's worth getting the right tools, right? Crispy Delicious painted his BGVs in black. I mean, it would make sense to do them in black. Or if you're ever in doubt, a good thing to do is just Google search, man. See what other people did for them. I think that's good enough. Probably gonna let the underside of the sword dry before we try and paint the lightning, because I just made a fuck up. Like, it's always easier to work towards a point. Like, if you're trying to like work your paint like left to right. Yeah, that's what I mean, like a balanced list. You'll need some melee, you'll need some shooting, and you might even need some anti-tank, and that might be more prevalent than it's ever been, I guess, right? Like, that anti-tank might actually be really important now. Because if you walk up to battle and the enemy's all tanks, and you just have nothing that can deal with that, because they're all toughness 12, which is definitely a thing that could happen. Losing one attack to reroll a wound is not bad. I mean, I guess it gives them a bit more flexibility with what they can do. I think the interesting thing is going to be, they've said that there's going to be a lot less rerolls in the new edition. And I think that's going to be where the interest actually comes, because, like, we know that in this edition, and it was one of the reasons that I didn't like Dante this edition, was like, people said like, oh, Dante's -1 to hit, that's really useful. And I was like, yeah, have you played the game? Because just about every army I play into, it feels like, you know, they're hitting on 2s, they're re-rolling their 1s or something. So it's like -1 to hit suddenly becomes a lot less useless, less useful, excuse me. If everybody's just rolling around like huge big armies full of re-rolls. So I guess now, if rerolls are much rarer, and that's one of the things that they kind of said that is going to happen, rerolls are going to be much rarer. That maybe like the -1 to hit, because Sanguinary Guard have -1 to hit, right? But I always felt like Sanguinary Guard would have been better off with just like a 5-up invuln, because the amount of times the -1 to hit doesn't help me at all for Sangard, whereas a 5-up invuln would have helped like loads. Who knows, we might get the best of both worlds. They might keep -1 to hit, there's a lot less rerolls, and they also get an invuln because they're wearing Artificer armor. Who knows what the new rules will actually entail, but I guess that's my point, was like, I didn't like -1 to hit on Dante because it was like, there's a lot of things that will still do the damage, you know, the -1 will just be negated because they're you know. Well, I played against Necrons recently, they've got the whole squad hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s, you know, it's like, so -1 to hit while their whole squad's hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s. I don't know if that makes that much difference in the grand scheme of things. Well, I mean, in my opinion, arguably it doesn't, right? I'm just dry brushing some Praxi White, no, Tyrant Skull onto these bases right now, and then I'm going to touch up the feet, and then we're gonna be done with. I'm not doing much more to the base than this. Command reroll might be once per turn. I don't really mind command reroll being more than once per turn. Once per phase is fine if it still costs 1 CP. You're not going to get that many. I think it's going to be Arcs of Omen style levels of CP, right? You're not going to have lots of CP to throw around. Unless, like, you're running Gilliman or the Silent King or something. I don't think you're going to have loads of CP. Wonder if Fight on Death will be going in 10th? That's a good question. I mean, there's a few mechanics like that, Fight on Death. I don't mind like Fight on Death for characters for 2 CP. Like, that's okay, I'm okay with that. I think Fight on Death on like some other armies that just have it sort of innately, or or like World Eaters with their just 1 CP, everything core fights on death. I think that's kind of obnoxious, and I would like to see the back of that. I think that datasheets becoming less killy in 10th is going to only be a good thing as well, yeah. That's why I'm building like my Blade Guard vets right now, and I'm probably going to move on to some Terminators next. No, I'm probably going to finish a couple of Death Company next. Then maybe do some Terminators, because well, I wanted to have as many Blade Guard as I can ready. I also thought I might do Outriders, even though I generally think Outriders are a steaming pile of poo in 9th edition. I guess it's going to be all about, like... What's going on with the music? Let me change it. We'll get into something a bit more upbeat. Ben says, hey, finally catching a live show. Ben, thanks so much for hanging out. How are you? Is this Blade Guard Sergeant the lieutenant from Indomitus? He is, because I got 3 copies of Indomitus, Jacob. So this is basically, like, I already got the lieutenant done. I only feel like I need 1 lieutenant with a storm shield, so this one just became a regular Blade Guard. I think I've got 1 more on Sprue that I was thinking of making into another regular Blade Guard, just because, I mean, if you run them in squads, you need some with the pistols, right? And the Neo Volkite pistol, I genuinely think is, well, it's free right now, but it was 5 points. When it was 5 points, I don't think it was worth it, but when war gear was expensive, or when war gear cost points, you always used to have like 5 points at the end of the list or something, right? And you're like, oh, how do I spend 5 points? Well, I guess I just give a Blade Guard Sergeant a better pistol. So yeah, this would have been one of the lieutenants from the Indomitus box with like with a head swap. I think is the only thing that I would have changed, maybe. Yeah, just a head swap, I think. This Blade Guard, just off screen, the one that I'm basing these 2 guys off, though, he has a Blood Angel's Terminator shoulder pad on him. So, like, I hacked, because these were easy to build Blade Guard, you know, Blade Guard with no Blade Guard with no options. So I hacked his arm to pieces, I guess, kept this part of the arm, put the Blood Angel's Terminator shoulder pad over the top, and then gave him, like, this is an Carmite sword. Yeah, I like to do random conversions. That's how my whole channel started, actually. It was like, I just started by posting conversions that I was making on YouTube, and then the channel sort of exploded, and I still enjoy doing conversions. I still do them all the time, I guess. I like to make things feel like they are unique and custom, even though it's like, you know, some people might follow the chapter identity really closely and the heraldry and all this sort of stuff. I just like to make my stuff unique, honestly. I mean, we spend a lot of time and money on the hobby, I always say that, so it's like, why can't I just make, I don't know, I just like my stuff to be cool and unique and people to maybe have some interest in it. How often do you look at other paint jobs on Reddit? It's a good question. Like, usually if I'm on Reddit, I probably spend more time looking at other people's army lists and giving feedback there, because I feel like it can be objective. I mean, I'll look at other people's paint jobs and admire them, but I'm not a good painter. I'm a battle-ready painter. So I'm more likely on Reddit, if I'm scrolling Reddit, I'm more likely to click on a post that's like, hey, is this a good list for a new player, or hey, is this a good tournament list? That's what I'm more likely to click on. I am running a painting competition on the channel. There's a video from like 2 weeks back, and I've got like $100 of prizes to give away as well. So we basically do a painting competition every year, Chuck. So if you've not seen that video, just search YouTube for like Blood Angels Commander painting competition. There's still time to enter this year. There's probably still time to enter a Dante if you want. Here's a question though, actually, since how many people are viewing live? 44 at the moment. 50 if you include the folk on Twitch. Would you guys want me to extend the painting competition deadline by a week? Because so the painting competition is supposed to end like the first week of May. So if Dante releases next Saturday, I think that would mean people would have 2 weeks to completely make and paint and enter Dante. Would you like me to extend it for one more week? Does anyone really want to enter Dante into the painting competition for this year? And I could give you 3 weeks to get him. Or you think it's fine? Most of you guys paint more than me, you don't have kids. So yeah, because like, I gotta always think about like me with the kids, like, I never get time to do the things I want to do. You know, it's my own fault for having kids, but I just thought that I'd mention it. See what people think. Does it have to be a Blood Angels unit? Yes, the competition is a Blood Angels painting competition, so we do expect Blood Angels units, yes. Atlas is entering Dante, and do you think 2 weeks is fine, Atlas? You can get your Dante fully ready, painted, entered in 2 weeks. I mean, I'll easily make the announcement and extend it for a week, and it might be cool just to get, since Dante is releasing so close to the competition, it might be worth just doing it, because then we could see some people's Dantes, and that would mean that anyone that's struggling to figure out like how they want to paint their Dante or a unique scheme for their Dante, because let's face it, some people will do like super unique schemes for their Dante. I think I heard someone saying they were going to do a white Dante. I kind of, there's lots of little details that I still want to fix on these guys, but I'm gonna, what's the time? It's like half an hour. Maybe I'll do a little bit of work on their feet and then this guy's feet for sure. Let's put that away. James says his Dante's going to be silver. Yes, there's a whole video on how you enter it. Do you know what we'll do is we'll extend it by a week then, and I'll relink the video. I'll do that on my community tab. So if you're subscribed, you'll 100% see it. SIES, not sure how you say your name, SIES. But if you do, just Google Blood Angels Commander painting competition. Maybe put Blood Angels Commander 2023 painting competition. You'll find it. You know, I am a little sad that I'm not allowed to enter, because I just finished my Gladiator and I'm actually really proud of my Gladiator. And I finished the Terrax, and I finished some Incursors. So I finished like 3 things in this last month, which is unheard of for me. But I'm not allowed to enter, I guess. So I need someone else to run a Blood Angels tournament, a less prestigious one. And I can enter. Wolfguard just ordered some Stormcast for conversions. I had considered doing that. It's hard to know if that's a valid thing to do, isn't it? Because it's like, at what point will we actually get the new upscaled Primaris Sangre Guard, or Primaris jump packs? Maybe is more important way of looking at it. Like, I do think that will happen. I do think that will happen sooner rather than later, but I mean, I feel like I've been saying that for years, so maybe it's not going to happen. I cheated. Did I cheat? I mean, Mike just did me my base coats. I actually mentioned about buying Lionel in like yesterday's tactics video, War Thunder. I thought about it quite a lot, but I just don't think he's as good as Guilliman. Like he has, yeah. I don't think he's as good as Guilliman in general, probably, and then he has less synergy than Guilliman has right now with Blood Angels. So yeah, I'm not gonna buy Lionel. I guess if I really wanted Lionel, I could proxy my Dreadnought that I've been running, sort of, maybe as Lionel, stick a giant shield on him and he might work. But yeah, no, I don't think I'm going to get Lionel. I guess, you know, if his 10th edition rules come out and they're totally different, then maybe, but for right now, I couldn't see a, like, he's a monster in combat, but that's all he's got. And he's 320 points. Which is the same as like 10 Thunderhammer, or 10 Terminators, I guess, with like Storm Shields and Thunderhammers or whatever. And although he's a monster in combat, I think 10 Terminators will outdamage him. And 10 Terminators will be probably a lot more survivable as well, because it's like 30 wounds against 9 wounds. And like wound break points as well, if you really want to go into it, and probably more objective control points. So, yeah, I did film a video yesterday. Like, I've been doing a lot of videos about 10th edition stuff, but I did tag on a bit about the Lion at the end of yesterday's video and basically say like, he's an absolute monster in combat. Don't get me wrong. Like, he'll kill a lot of stuff, but I just don't really see how he would be needed or how he could best help my Blood Angels army, I guess. And if I can't see that, then I'm not going to buy him. Cool model, though. I mean, maybe one day I'd get him just to paint him as a Blood Angel. I mean, I was going to paint Helbreck and Grimaldus as Blood Angels, right? I'm going to buy the new Terminators. Well, I'm going to buy the new box, for sure, like the new 10th edition starter box, whatever that, and whatever comes in that, I guess I'll be getting. And I think I'd be very surprised if that box didn't include the new Terminators. But I already got plenty Firstborn Terminators with bolt guns, like plenty of them. So if I get the new box, I was saying earlier in the stream, I might paint them gold. Might just go like unorthodox. I mean, I went unorthodox with these Blade Guard and I kind of like how they look. That's one thing that I find that I think is cool about Blood Angels, is we can basically be red, black or gold, and I know the rules don't always make super sense for us to be in gold or black, but you know, if you want to paint a Dreadnought black, or if you wanted to paint a tank black and sort of like say I was painting a black Impulsor and calling it my Death Company Impulsor. I was painting a black Redemptor, calling it my Death Company Redemptor. It's odd that they didn't give the Lion an Imperium buff. I think it is a little bit odd, Highland. If they give him one in 10th edition, then I guess that'll open the debate for, like, if he did an Imperium buff, I feel like there's a much higher chance that I would have bought him, right? And maybe that was a mistake by Games Workshop, like maybe they should have given him Imperium. Well, I mean, sounds like he was sold out anyway. But maybe he could have been mega sold out if they'd given him an Imperium buff. Or maybe they didn't want to give him an Imperium buff because they thought demand would be too high, I don't know. Death Company Terminators. You know what? I've never done Death Company Terminators. That's a cool idea. I don't know why I didn't think of that. I was thinking I was going gold Terminators because I haven't done gold Terminators, but I haven't done. I did some Rogue Trader Terminators in Death Company colors, but those are Rogue Trader. They're terribly old models. They're actually kind of tiny, the models. Like, they're metal Terminators and they are really small. Like, they'll be smaller than current Firstborn, probably. Maybe I should do the new squad of Terminators as Death Company Terminators. I mean, lore-wise, they don't give Death Company Terminator armor, but I'm not trying to be lore accurate for it. Just trying to do something cool and have the new unique looking squad of Terminators, right? Thoughts on dropping wound cap and ignore invuln rules? I mean, ignore invuln is really difficult for them to balance, right? Because it's like, ignore invuln takes like a rule that they've obviously balanced, like, because when a model has an invuln save, its points, costs, etc. are like balanced to include the invuln save. So surely when you have a rule that just negates invuln saves, while it's cool, I suppose, it kind of debalances some things. I'm not sure how I feel about, like, you know, like Null Zone is the one that Marines would fall back to for, like, dealing with removing invuln saves. Like, if it's like a one-off per game thing, maybe I can be okay with it, but like, I don't know if I love rules that like circumvent other core mechanics of the game. And that was one of the things that I always used to say, like, about the Red Thirst. I don't like the fact that like certain rules can just like completely negate Red Thirst, right? Like the +1 to wound that we have is great until you fight an army that's entirely transhuman. You could also argue, like, you know, Votann, for example. You know, like if you've got an army like Dark Angels that are pointed to include the fact that they have that transhuman army wide, and then you go, but you're playing against Votann, so they'll just auto wound you and never have to roll a wound dice. Like, I kind of hope that they get rid of some of that sort of nonsense. And I think if they did that, it would help. It'd honestly help balance the game a lot as well, I think. But yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of stuff talked about for 10th edition that I'm not fully clear on yet, right? Like, there was the post talking about like devastating wounds and anti-weapons and critical wounds and stuff, and I'm not sure they've clarified all the things that they mentioned yet. They might have clarified them all now, and I need to go back and make a video on it and read up on it. But at the same time, the fact that these are all universal rules sounds much better to me than like individual faction rules, because if they're universal rules, it means that everybody's using the same special abilities, special rules, and if one faction is making too good use of them, then they can change it like faction wide or army wide, and I think that will help the game a lot. I think 10th's gonna. I think it's an exciting time to be a fan. There's just so many what ifs at the moment, which is why every time, or which is basically why every week I'm just doing a video with as much information as I can get. On 10th edition, right? We'll just keep covering 10th edition in as much detail as I can. Excuse me, what sword ignores invuns? There's a Deathwatch sword. There's also that new Lord Avocado who has an axe, I believe, that ignores invuns. Both the Nightbringer and the Shard of the Void Dragon ignore invuns. There's enough stuff out there that ignore invuns for sure. And some of them ignore wound caps as well. I'm not a huge fan of wound caps. But maybe it's just because, like, as Blood Angels, we don't have anything that's wound capped. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think you need wound capped models. Like, you've got, like, Bloodthirsters with, like, eight wound caps or whatnot. If you put your Bloodthirster in a position where the enemy can do 20 wounds to it in a turn and take it out in one turn, I would just say, well, you put your Bloodthirster in a dumb position. That's on you. That's not... We don't need a rule that prevents you doing that much damage to a Bloodthirster of Khorne, for example. Again, this is all my 2 cents. Feel free to ignore or disagree with anything I say, I guess. Devastating wounds is a mortal wound. Okay, good to know. I wasn't entirely sure of what all those terms are. I mean, I'll go over all the terms in an upcoming video. James says he paints slowly enough where he can't be stacking up other armies models. I mean, I'm in the same boat, James, where I'm now, I guess, commissioning some of my Blood Angels, because if I don't commission them, I'm never going to finish them. That's why I commissioned the terrain that I'm for boarding actions, because I do want to play boarding actions on the channel. I do want to play it a lot, but I figured that if I tried to, I don't know, if I try to paint boarding actions, it would probably take me 6 months to paint it, and I got 2 years, 3 years of Blood Angel stuff stacked up that needs finished. So for me, I guess it just made sense to commission it. I'm in the lucky position where, like, basically some of the channel income can go to commissioning the boarding actions, the set. Alright, we're getting there with these Blade Guard. Slowly but surely. I think they're ready for their wash. I think that'll probably have to be the last thing I do tonight. This is why I can't. Time gets away from me, man. Like, I've been streaming for 135 minutes. I've barely got anything done. 2-bar Blade Guard can't have jump packs. Am I getting Adeptus Arbiters? I haven't looked at the Warhammer community website much this week, because I finished filming my video for Friday on, like, was it Tuesday night? And then on Wednesday night I did the hobby hangout. On Thursday night I went to see the global premiere of the new Metallica album. And then last night I was watching. We've been watching Blood of the Dragons, House of the Dragons. Me and my wife have been watching House of the Dragons. We're always behind with TV shows as well. I mean, we got kids. We never get to watch them when the shows first come out. But we've really been enjoying House of the Dragons. So. I noticed that they'd like, so my plan for early next week, I guess, Sellers, was it Sellers that asked that? Yes, Oh no, Highland Phoenix Acid. Sorry, Sellers was right before. What's good about them? My plan was to look at them possibly for include like because the videos I've been making it the last couple of weeks are just monstrous videos, right? Where I'm including like everything that they're talking about for 10th edition. So I'd assumed that I was just going to include these guys in next week's video. I didn't really look at them. I assumed that they were like similar to like the Navy Breachers or something like that. They kind of look like the Navy Breachers, right? The new thoughts on the new Metallica? Dude, I can't get the new Metallica music out of my head. I wasn't sure about going to the premiere because I was like, do I even care? I did love Metallica, but like when I love Metallica, I like them with like Master of Puppets or like I liked them before Load, and Load was like 1994. So like I like Metallica, I guess in the late 80s, Justice for All. They look like Judge Dredd or RoboCop. Okay. Then maybe I can get some of them for. Can they do Voidsman at Arms type stuff? But yeah, so I can't get enough. I can't get the new Metallica record out of my head. If we could be listening to it on stream and I wouldn't get like copyright striked, we'd be listening to it right now. It's so good. There was, I don't know, it was 12 songs. One of the songs was 11 minutes long. They actually said it was our longest ever song. And I was like, oh my god, is this going to be a nightmare? But actually, like, it did actually feel like a pretty short 12 minutes. So I was like, okay, damn. This record is killer. I'm really enjoying it. I'm listening to it all the time. It's been on my Alexa playlist thing all day long. I don't know if you just heard Alexa in the hallway just decided to shout out that it didn't see my playlist. It's like, don't wake my kids, Alexa. Yeah, so it's a long time since I've been excited about a record like I was excited about this one. And like I said, I didn't even know if I was really going to get into it. I just went to the premiere because I don't know. It was more an excuse to catch up with some old buddies, really, than. And while we did like Metallica, I was like, I haven't thought that much. Like, I've listened to their new albums since like, well, I've listened to every album since like 2000s. But yeah, I mean, I preferred I still prefer like Master of Puppets and like the really old stuff. But yeah, it's good. It's good. It's really good. If you haven't listened to it, I mean, it's on Spotify. You can actually listen to the whole thing on YouTube because on the Metallica YouTube channel they have like all the songs up, I think. So yeah, if you were a Metallica fan in the past and you weren't sure about jumping in or checking it out, I'd say it's worth checking out. There's a few songs I just can't get out of my head, which is good. I've not had an album that I've cared about that much in years, honestly. I'm just doing a little bit of highlighting on these cloaks. I mean, again, it's pretty simple. It was just like painted the cloak Mephiston red, put some null oil into recesses, and then paint some Evil Sun Scarlet on some of the raised parts. Like, super simple. Nothing fancy whatsoever. I'm missing the previous batch of tunes you played on the stream. I could go back to playing those tunes for a while. I just started playing these new ones because I was sick of the old ones. I guess I'd been listening to them for the best part of 2 years. Could easily go back to playing some of the old tunes for a bit. I mean, I didn't delete any of them when I stopped playing them. They're just in a different folder, and I got some new ones. Peter says he's more of a prog fan, a progressive rock. I mean, that's the thing though. Like the Metallica, I don't even know if they're heavy metal. They haven't been heavy metal since. I think they're more hard rock than they are heavy metal. Maybe someone can disagree with me on that, but I think they're more hard rock than metal, really. I'm more of a hard rock person actually these days than metal anyway. There's not many bands I would still listen to that are metal. I think maybe your music taste mellows out when you're older. Like I used to always listen to shit like Pantera or Sepultura or Slipknot, man. If I listen to Slipknot now, it has to be like their most mellow shit because I don't know. I still like Slipknot. I just don't know if I would listen to like Surfacing or anything. Like what was that album? Yeah, Surfacing, Wait and Bleed and stuff. Yeah, I know. I mean that's a bit much for me these days, I think. Do you use blood for the blood god on some of your models? Is that a paint? Hey, thanks so much for subscribing. I appreciate it. Alien Ski. It blows my mind we still get new subscribers like every day. The Blood Angels army grows. We're returning from our defeat at Baal. Or victory at Baal, whatever you want to call it. I think we'll have to wait for at least the second wave of 10th edition to see any sort of jump pack Primaris models, which is disappointing. I really thought we would have seen some by now, but I think you're right. They didn't show anything. Unless they're going to release some along with that Space Marine game, because in that new Space Marine game, which I think is coming out Q1 or 2? No, I don't think it would be Q1, because Q1 must be just about over. Q2 maybe? I'm excited about that bolt gun game. Have you guys seen that bolt gun game? It's like out in like a month maybe? I'm going to get that. Reminds me of like Quake 2. Am I going to freehand heraldry? No, I'll slap a transfer right in the middle of heraldry. I usually use those white ones. Check it out. I'm going to slap that right in the middle. I don't know how I think it looks. I think it looks okay, I guess. Possibly not the best. I'm getting better at freehand. On the Gladiator that I just finished, I basically painted over the transfers, like the old yellow transfers that I had, because they were kind of old and crappy. So like I am getting much better at freehand, but I'm not comfortable enough to paint any sort of intrinsic design. That's not the right word. Well, basically I'm not comfortable enough to paint any sort of level of detail of design. I can do like a blood drop or something, but that's about it. So yeah, no freehanding for me, I'm afraid. I did say I'm a battle ready painter. I think you're... I was going to say, I think you're expecting a bit much from me. I'm also at the point where, like, in my old age, my eyesight's getting crappy. Which is annoying. So I think, like, the most I can do in, like, a paint session is, like, maybe 3 or 4 hours, and then my eyes are just like, nope, we can't focus for much longer. Intricate. Good evening, Gav. How are you? Thank you. Do some freehand. I painted I was doing a speed paint thing the other night, and I painted this blood drop freehand. And it doesn't particularly look like a blood drop, it just looks like a line. I mean, I guess in some ways it's not very droppy, is it? But this was my speed paint guy from the other night. It's okay. I don't like to paint models this quick because I don't know, I'm too precious about things. Go back and forth forever. Did finish my Gladiator today, Gav. How are you, by the way? You excited for 10th edition? I haven't really spoke to you about it. Blood for the Blood God is a technical paint which replicates blood. I've never used blood for the Blood God. Sounds like a paint I probably should use, like on swords, or you know, I never bought the Blade Guard kit that was like the Blade Guard kit where he's like wiping his sword off on a rag. I guess that would be perfect for it, huh? Yeah, it's news to me. I didn't know there was an actual paint that's just supposed to look like blood. That's cool. Oh, so it's a bit like a contrast paint, because I sometimes put like Blood Angels contrast over the top of like gold. That makes like a really cool reddy gold effect that needs like no highlighting and washing. Sounds like you can almost do the same thing with this Blood for the Blood God then. Yeah, I'm excited about the edition reset as well. I think it's going to be like, as a Marine player, I'm pretty excited because while Marines have won events through 9th, there's not many events I've gone to where I've been like super confident with my Marine army, thinking like, hey, Marines are in a great place right now. And I get that like Marines did win some giant events, like LVO was won by Blood Angels during the Armor of Contempt season and stuff. But I was like, I went and watched a couple of those streams, Gav, and like one of the streams I watched at like the top table, there was like 14 pieces of obscuring terrain on the table or something like that. And I was like, geez man, if I got to play on tables with 14 pieces of obscuring terrain, I tell you right now I do a lot better than I do, because I'm lucky sometimes if we have like 8. I was like 14 pieces of obscuring terrain. That's crazy to me. That's like a Blood Angels, like, I was going to say, that's like a Blood Angels player's wet dream, 14 pieces of obscuring terrain. I mean, it changes the game so much. Well, the 10th edition kit, or one of them, have Blood Angels and Nids. I mean, I think the 10th edition kit is going to be just generic Space Marines and Nids, right? Like, I don't think they've specific... I think 100% is going to be generic Space Marines. It's not going to have anything Blood Angel specific in there, if that's what your question is. Cernade says LVO is really terrain heavy. Yeah, I mean, I guess regardless of how heavy or unheavy a tournament is, I kind of, if they're trying to keep pushing the bat, like they're at a point now where they're trying to balance the game better for competitive play. I honestly start wondering, should they start putting terrain layouts in chapter approved and be like, this is how many. So because, you know, like in their meta watch thing that they're doing now, when they're like looking at like, hey, these are all the games worldwide. Well, like there's a lot of variance there because everybody worldwide could all be playing on different terrain and different densities. So like it's pointless to say, oh well, you know, Blood Angels are a 41% win rate, but they won LVO, so they must be in a good place. And it's like, well, yeah, I mean, if you are on a really terrain heavy meta or a really heavy terrain board, then they are in a good place. But if you're on a board with no obscuring terrain, you've got no fucking chance. So I don't know what the solution is, but I do wonder if there needs to be like a unification of, like, I know they did some examples of like, hey, this is GW terrain and certain events ran GW terrain. I think that was more in America that happened. I don't know how people feel about that though. But like if they want to balance the game further, then the terrain is the one thing that changes every game to game that can giantly skew things, right? I hate paint and point. I'm going to call it in the next 5 minutes though, because my eyes are glazing over a bit trying to focus on this fight anyway, so I guess I'm not going to finish these Blade Guard tonight. Next time. So a few people think standardized terrain is the solution. I don't know if it would make the game too boring. They would have to have like a number of different maps, or they would have to have something that kept it fresh maybe, but it does make me wonder like how useful all that data they collect is if they don't know what terrain, because it just has such an impact on the game, right? Alright, I'm gonna put him to the side and do a little bit of work on this other guy's shield. Call it a night. You should have at least pieces in every quarter and dead center. Well, that would be 9 pieces, but I mean, then I guess you get into like sizes and heights, and are they obscuring, are they not obscuring? There's just so many variables, right? And that's why I think it's going to be hard for them to ever achieve like really good balance till they figure out how they can balance the terrain. Like globally, Because that's what they record games, right? Globally. You know? So they're trying to record games globally and try and like get a giant picture of like the current meta. Then like how can they do that when they don't know what's standard? But maybe I just see that more because like I play a melee army, so like a huge part of my gameplay revolves around the train. Whereas if you play like an army that's primarily like, I don't know, a bit of everything or a bit more shooting, then maybe you're just like, yeah, you know, train's train and I just deal with it every match. Whereas like as a melee army, you literally win. Your tournament is decided on. Your tournament's almost won or lost on the train, right? Like if you go into the game and you're just like, right, I can hide everything and then I can jump out and do my melee shit, then you're gonna have a great event. Whereas if it was like you can't hide anything, or you can only hide half your army and then the other player can shoot half of it, then it's like, oh well, I'm gonna have a bad event, and there's almost nothing you can do about that. Big gaps of time between games is the hardest thing to under. That is hard, actually. Like, I always find that if I don't play a game in like a month, then I'm just like super rusty. So no, I totally get that. I think the older you are, the more stuff you have to keep in your brain. So if you don't play Warhammer in a few weeks, you're like, God, like, it surprises you how much you can forget in a small period of time, I feel like. You're just gonna have to try and play every week, sellers. I mean, that's like the only option. And even then, sometimes I feel like one game a week isn't enough. Unfortunately, one game a week is all I can manage with my family, and sometimes like these last couple of weeks I've had to take a break as well, just because like family reasons, so. Price that you pay by becoming an adult, huh? I can't see so well anymore, so I guess that means it's bedtime, end of stream time. I will try and finish these Blade Guard in the next stream. We'll definitely get close. They don't need much now. Eyes maybe, and like, well, they need a bit of a wash here and there. A bit of clean up on the shields. Alright. The shield white is actually nightmarish though, because every time I try and make it more white, I keep touching up other bits. I keep hitting other bits and going back and cleaning it up. I was going to say, I can't remember how accurate it was. So that was a finished shield. That white actually looks really quite solid and matte. But it feels like you could put so many coats of white on and you still get bits that don't look 100%, just like you can still see the previous colour through a little bit. But thanks, Ben, I appreciate it. So I'll be back tomorrow night to look at army lists like we do every Sunday night. So I'm sure I'll see some of you guys then. Enjoy your weekend, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate the super chats. I was going to say and the new subscribers as well. Thank you so much for that. And anyone that used the Element Games link to buy their what were you guys buying? Dante. I also super appreciate that. So thanks so much for doing that. I'll catch you tomorrow night, guys. Until then, take care. Enjoy your evening. Peace.